Hey guys, welcome to the Premier FPL Premier League Fantasy Football Review. Obviously, last weekend on Sunday was Game Week 38, and it was the last week of the season. Obviously, coming into that week, we were top by 3 points. Matt right behind us. Obviously, we sent out our squads, two completely different squads from me and Matt. But who won the league? That is the most important question that you all want to find out. So before we get into that, I just want to have a talk about, without spoiling what happened. To be honest, I think I had a really good season. I think it's probably one of my best seasons, especially because I've not done FPL in the last 3 years, 3 to 4 seasons. And even when I did do it, I don't think I've ever completed one from Game Week 1 to 38. So this was my full ever season. So I want to give myself a round of applause for that one. To actually finishing the season itself. Obviously, like I said, I did it through McDonald's. So to everyone who obviously took part in the mini league, obviously thank you for being part of it. I know obviously some people kind of gave up halfway through the season and so forth, but there was a couple of people that still kept going and stuff, so it still made it fun to do. Obviously for all you guys watching the videos, enjoying it, giving me suggestions, transfers, let me know how you're doing. Obviously thank you for all that. And we will be back next year, not only for McDonald's, but for next year I want to do a open YouTube league. So if any of you subscribers want to join, you can get involved, and you can compete against me, my friends, and so forth. Any of your friends can all join. That's what I want to do next year. But let's get into the finale. Did we win the league? Okay, so we're here on the homepage, going through the team of the week. Jordan Pickford, 11 points. Defender Levi Colwill at 15. Defender Zabarabi from Bournemouth, 11. Tierney 10. Milenkovic with 9. Semenya with 16. Hiddlesworth with 15. Gundogan with 14. Ahmed with 13. Bowen with 13. And Stewart with 9 points. Always the team of the week. If we're gonna get notifications that come through. Go away. We can look through every single player of the week, in each game week. There must be a quicker way. Yeah, I thought so. Nope, apparently not. Apparently you can't see. Nearly there. Okay, so yes. So here we go. Mo Salah was the first ever player of the week. Maddie Wake second. Mo Salah again. Sanchez third. Jackson fourth. Cole Palmer in the game week 6. Some Antonios, Keane and Bemo, Solanke, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, Shade, Mo Salah, Palmer, Sarr, Mo Salah, Joe Linton, Mo Salah again, Mbemo, Ahmed, Cliver, Durango, Mo Salah, Antonio, Asensio, Cunha, Cucurella, Bruno, Asensio, Johnson, Barnes, Trossard, Trippier, Shade, Eze, Konza, and Semenya were all the player of the weeks for every single week there. Let's look at the team. I'm not going to scroll down to the bench because obviously I don't want to spoil where we finished in the league. But Ray with 2 points there. Van Dijk with 1. Guardiola with 8, Milankovic with 2, and Bemo 8, Bowen 26, Salah 10, Rodgers 1, Saka 1, Weza 1, and Watkins 1. Yeah, it was a 62 points. Obviously, average was 46, highest was 125, minus 4 points. Now, obviously, we took minus 4 points. Matt also took minus 4 points, so we were level peggings, no matter what. But before we look at anything else, we're going to head over to the cup, because as you can see, I was crowned the FPL Cup champion, beating Gavin in the final, which actually I was very surprised with, because when I looked at his team in Game Week 37, he was in a better position than I was. Obviously, we took the minus points to make the transfers, and they didn't really work out, but somehow we beat Gavin in the final with a 41 points there for him. Where we've got Munoz, Burn, O'Brien, Rodgers, Salah, Sarr, Saka, and then Mamouche, Watkins, and Mateta, all with the points for him. So yes, we did absolutely go on to win the cup. If we look at the whole run, all teams in the cup, obviously it was Marcus versus Louis in the round of 16, which obviously Marcus beat by 1 point. Tyler versus Andrew, and this was a shocking one, because I don't think Andrew actually played most of it towards the end of the season, but to beat Tyler there was really good for everyone else. So he got knocked out, because he was still top in this game week. This was the week that after we overtook Tyler, which meant obviously everyone else got a bye, because I think it's based on the week 34's points. So obviously these 4 had the lowest points, so they're the ones who got into it, and everyone else got a bye. Going into the quarters, this was what it was. It was me versus Aiden, and we scraped a point. So close, we scraped a point there. Marcus versus Kevin. Marcus got the better of Kevin there. Gavin smoked Andrew, and Luke lost to Matt, which meant the final semi-finals was me versus Marcus, which is the one that we wanted, and Gavin versus Matt. And it says 62 to 45. This was because obviously Gavin used his bench boost. Gavin, obviously, this was his first time ever doing it, so he probably didn't know how to use it, because he also messaged me after the season saying that he didn't use his triple captain at all throughout the FPL season. So obviously, as a rookie, you make mistakes, but he used it smartly there on the game week 37 to beat Matt. Had he not, I think this would have been a lot closer. I don't know if he'd gone through without the bench boost, but unfortunately he came against B. And the one thing that I had in my favour wasn't the team, it was the head-to-head record. This season I've been the best head-to-head player against anyone else. If we look at head-to-heads, head-to-heads, we are the best. I think I might have also spoiled the points there. But head to head, we are the best pound for pound player. It's very close between me and Matt there, head to head, but absolute destroyed everyone else. And I think that's what kind of did it against Gavin, that he came against the best player in a head to head format. But I think it's been spoiled where we came in the league. That is right. We came second. Matt picked us in the final week, and I can't be mad. You know, there was chances we could have ran away with this league. There was mistakes. There was some bad picks, which is obviously always through FPL. You know, sometimes you get the right choice, sometimes you don't. Obviously, it's a little bit annoying to have not got the right pick on the last weekend. And I'll show you how it won it, because it was one player that won it for him. See, obviously, like I said, he took the -4 points, 3 points behind us. But the one person that picked it for us was this Semenya in his 2-0 victory over Leicester. Which meant he got 16 points. And that's what obviously won it for him. And, you know, fair dues, because he took the risk on tripling up on Bournemouth with a -4. Could have not worked out. It did with the clean sheet, the goals. He went obviously in Bemo. I went Bowen as captains. So on that final weekend, he was nervous. But I didn't even realise that obviously the Bournemouth picks, and that's what obviously ultimately won it for him. So now obviously we can go back and look at my bench, because it wasn't great either. 2 points for Verbogen, 2 for Beto, El Nori 2, Phase 1. And basically what I would say, there's about 3 weeks in FPL in which I can kind of comfortably say I could have ran away with it, but I didn't. And that was probably the game week 36. If I go back to my team points, if we can go back. No, it was in this one. There was a game. This one, I think it was this one. The week before, the week after we used our triple captain, I should have went captain on Isaac here, because they were playing Ipswich. I decided not to, just because of Salah. Obviously, I thought Salah would pick some points up, and yeah, that was one of the weeks. I believe this was the other week that obviously could have easily got us the points. We went with obviously Milenkovic. They didn't get the clean sheet. However, this week, if I was thinking about either going Nico Williams or a voice defender. If I had put Morello, he got a goal. If I picked Nico Williams, he got an assist. But I picked the one player that didn't, and that obviously cost me as well. Obviously, a -8 doesn't help. As towards the end of the seasons, we took a lot of points because we weren't in the right position to leave the squad. We had to make changes. We did our best, obviously, to pick a team with upcoming players and fixtures. But yeah, there was a couple of mistakes on the way, which obviously cost us. But overall, I'm not disheartened, you know. Means we have to go again next year, as Matt has to retain his crown. But let's look at overall from beginning to for the end of the year. So in August, we actually were sitting fourth. So this was obviously the first month. Everyone obviously picking their squads, getting used to it, and you can see the difference. Tyler 6th, Matt 7th, I'm 4th. Going into September, you can see Tyler starts climbing. I'm still in 4th. Obviously these are at the end of the month, so obviously there's obviously a couple of weeks where you drop up, you drop down. So we remain 4th. Matt's still in 6th. Gavin's in 9th. Then in October, you see the top 3 go up. Tyler top, Matt 2nd, I'm 3rd. Gavin starts climbing to 6th. Into November, bang, we're top. I think this was probably 1 week where we overtake Tyler, because then in December we drop all the way back down to 4th. Louis there somehow rising into 2nd. Into January, again we're 5th. You know, I'm actually thinking this might not be what I'm thinking of. I think this might be a little bit glitched out, because I think it might be total points, not position played. But then in March you can see to map back into it. Yeah, because I think it's total points, because obviously March, April. Yeah, okay. It was worth a try, but this isn't what I was looking for. It's fine anyway. You got the gist of it, you know. We had a slow start. We got back into it. You know, we were trailing. As for the Management McDonald's League, I think this was kind of done and dusted months ago, because this guy's been on top since day one. Obviously, we were chasing him for weeks and weeks and weeks. But yeah, so congratulations to him. Gilly, a good friend of mine, unfortunately a Chelsea fan there, in 2nd. He actually took it a lot closer, fair play, because when we were chasing lads on tour, we were so far behind. We had one good week, he had another good week. When we had a bad week, he had a good week. So for Gilly to actually come very close, that's good. Obviously, us losing to Matt meant we dropped down to 7th, where we could have been 6th. And again, yeah, like we were 2nd for, I would say, about 22 game weeks in the McDonald's League, behind lads on tour. And then from 23 to about 28 game week, 23 to 28, we just dropped down the table. And then from game week 30, was just kind of battling out for a top 4 place. And then by game week 34, that was done. We were fighting for Conference League football and Europa League football. And then, yeah, just the end of it, unfortunately, wasn't nice to us. Means we will get Conference League, which isn't great. 7th place, you know. We move on. But overall, yeah, so congratulations to Matt, obviously. I picked up the FPL Cup. It's not the same as winning the league, of course. But there was still a chance we could have went with nothing. So, overall, we didn't win the league, unfortunately, guys. Congratulations to Matt for winning that. You know, at the beginning of game week 30, number 1, we were all talking about this in the group chat and saying, oh, how good we are. And I said Matt would be my biggest rival. I thought Tyler was obviously very good for about I'd say 90% of the season. Tyler was very good. that last 5 game weeks, he kind of dropped off. You know, bad decisions in game week 35, which was the blank. And yeah, but I knew it would be a tight race between me and Matt and Tyler. Could it have been more tighter if everyone else had still played? Yes, I think that would have made it way more interesting if people hadn't gave up by January, especially the bottom half. You know, Aiden, obviously he was top for the first month, threw it away with transfers rather than doing a wild card. Obviously that's a rookie mistake, but obviously that affected him and he was nowhere near the top anymore. Marcus, Louis, Karen, they gave up by December because of injuries and they weren't top. But yeah, me, Matt, Gavin, all still went for it. And yeah, so would have been nice if everyone stayed more competitive. But it is what it is. You know, that is FPL the game. Not everyone has the time. People forget their passwords. People just don't have motivation when they're blubber in the league. And so forth. So could have been closer probably, which would have made it more interesting. But second place for us, I take that. A cup win, I take that. Conference League football in the McDonald's Management League would take that, unfortunately. It's going to be the FPL Fantasy Football League review. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye out till when the 25-26 season FPL is live. I will do a video on that when it comes out, and I will set up the leagues for all you guys to get involved. Obviously, let me know in the comments down below how you did, where you finished. Did you have a good season? You don't have to win the league to have a good season. I think everyone assumes if you don't win it, you've had a bad season. No, it was took down to the wire. I was beat by the better man on the final day. And that's all you can do, you know. You can do your best. Mistakes will be made over 38 game weeks. Unfortunately, we made a mistake on the last week. And that is what it is, you know. But let me know in the comments down below how you did. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you do like my content, there is my Premier League predictions review on YouTube. So go and check that out because that is some statements I made at the beginning of the season. Where I put teams, you want to go and check that out. And if you haven't already, go to and watch my TFC United Create a Club Career Mode, in which I create my own football team on FC25 and take them from League 2 to the Premier League. Season 1 is done and dusted, so you can go and check that all out. And if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you like the video, and I'll see you next season for FPL. Goodbye.